where you are. I'm just so grateful for these Fridays. It's been more than half a year we've been doing them. All right. YouTube is on. Where you are. Okay. We're gonna start the recording. Here we go. All right. I'll share my screen real fast. We'll move through this really fast. I think it's open. Well, hang on. Oh, there it is. So welcome again to the Friday night Believer workshops. We believe in comics. We believe in community and art. We believe in the believer. Anyway, you're at Sequential Artists Workshop. Thanks for joining us. And for those who don't know, we're a 501c3 nonprofit. We have lots and lots of online courses at learn.sawcomics.org. And you can go check that out. I'll mention some of the things coming up that you can find out about there. Next week, we're having Natalie Norris return. Last time Natalie Norris did drawing a comics letter to the past. I don't know if she'll be doing that again, but that was really inspiring, but I'm not sure what she's doing on the 8th, but that's next Friday. Starting in September, the year-long certificate program. It's our favorite program. We have lots of, maybe it's our biggest program, and it's definitely the most intensive. We have a lot of favorites, but that's coming up soon. And if you have any questions, email, chat, anything, we'll answer them for you. We're real proud of what we do there. In-person program in Gainesville, Florida, July 25th to 29th. I'm really excited by that. That's already got a bunch of signups, and may even stop broadcasting about that because I think it's getting to a good level. On the online site, we have a bunch of tiers that you can join. The free tier has community and events like this and free resources, and the soft flow and published tier has exercises and anthologies we publish and lots more resources, and the third tier is more complicated. Lots of free courses come with those tiers. Please share what you do tonight. Friday Night Comics is the hashtag. At Comics Workshop is our Instagram and Twitter handle. You can also share at the members.sawcomics.org website. Lots of people sharing there. We survive from tuitions and donations, so there's some ways you can donate. And to those of you who have donated through Eventbrite, we really appreciate that. Your donations have helped some of these programs. We offered more than $20,000 in tuitions last year, various donations to other places. You can see that all on our website too, at sequentialartistsworkshop.org. Jett Allen is here. Hello. There's Jett's
Hello.
and Jett's Instagram. Please, no inappropriate speech or imagery. Enjoy. I'm going to stop sharing. And I think since Jett's done this before, they know how to do this. Jett, I may turn my video off, but I'm here anytime you need something. I'll handle all the sharing if you need that to be the case. But otherwise, I'll just spotlight you for the moment, excuse me, and let you begin. And feel free to announce, promote, or anything like that.
Okay, great. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much to the Sequential Arts Workshop for having me back. I'm super excited to be here this Friday and be drawing with all of you. And I thank you all for joining me. Just a little bit about me. I'm Jett Allen. I do a lot of different kinds of work. You may have seen some of my things in the New Yorker Daily Shouts, where I do more humor-based comics. I also do autobiographical comics, and I draw comics about movies, which is what inspired this workshop. So I currently draw a comic called Transclassic Movies for Into, where I think about different movies that shaped my identity. So I'm really excited to be here and to kind of explain more of my process for my movie-related comics. For me, in my life, movies have been both an obsession and also a way of hiding. So if something really difficult happens, I might turn on a movie and kind of hide from the world and maybe hide from my own feelings a little bit. Sometimes it's been hard for me to even access my own memories, because when I think about the past, I sometimes think about different movies I saw or TV shows I saw, and it's like hard to break through to what really happened. And what I've learned is that, oops, go back, is that often movies can be a way to remember things. So if you start thinking about a movie that really meant something to you, you might start thinking about when you saw it, and then that will bring up other memories of what you were going through at that time in your life, and maybe why you related to it at that time. You know, sometimes the movies that we see can shape us in really unexpected ways that we don't really think about until we start thinking of these memories. So I really liked The Little Mermaid when I was a kid, and I used to sit like a mermaid everywhere I went. So I started thinking about that. And thinking about movies has also helped me a lot with comics. So the visual language of movies, you know, has a relationship to comics. Like sometimes you might want to start a comic with an establishing shot, so just showing like the general place where the action takes place. And then I think about how close do I want to show someone, how far away. Maybe I want to have a panel where we're really low to the ground or we're overhead. And obviously you don't have to use movie language in your comics, but since I'm a fan of movies, I think it does kind of come through my work a little bit. A lot of things I like to think about, and these are two excerpts from different comics I did for Movie, the movie streaming platform, is just thinking about like the context where we watch movies. So thinking about like watching movies in bed and my laptop overheating, making me super hot, and the movie stops and I can't continue watching it. Or thinking about like, I did a whole comic thinking about things I miss about being in a movie theater during the pandemic. And one of them was just how when I'm chewing popcorn really loudly, I'm worrying I'm disturbing everybody. So just thinking about like movies not as some pure experience where you just disappear, but something that you do with your body. And in terms of my longer comics, you know, this is an excerpt from a comic I did about Rock Hudson, and I was thinking about how I saw a Rock Hudson movie when I was in college, and I really related to him and related to how kind of dissociated he seemed and distant. And that got me to think about other experiences I had in college. And then that got me to do more research about Rock Hudson and sort of how he might have also felt dissociated from his body. So kind of like movies, when you start to think about them, you can start to think, oh, wow, I related to this moment in my life because of this. And then you might go back and like learn more about the movie, and then that might make you think more things about yourself. So kind of having this dialogue with the movie is what I'm really interested in. So today, we're not going to do something quite so complicated as that, but we're going to be doing a movie diary comic. So to begin with, if you're somebody that likes to set up your panels beforehand, I kind of like to draw panels as I go. But this is going to be a 4-panel comic. So feel free to take a moment and draw 4 panels if you'd like ahead of time. And I'll just give everyone a moment. now that everyone's kind of, you can continue kind of thinking through your panels, but I'm going to take you through a little brainstorm because I know movies can be scary to write about. And I think it's always helpful to have some prompts. So I'm going to kind of read each prompt and give you all a minute to just answer. And my advice would be don't overthink it. Just write the first movie that comes from the top of your head, and yeah, don't question it too much because you can get a little lost. So my first prompt is think about a movie you loved from the past. And maybe this is a movie you've seen a million times, or it's just one of your favorite movies. And if possible, I would write these in a list, and you'll see why in a minute. So I would write number 1, a movie you loved. Okay. Number 2, movie that you hated. Maybe it's something that someone else really liked in your life and you had to watch it, or just something that you've always not cared for. Okay, number 3 is a movie that was important to a loved one. So this might have been something a parent showed you or a sibling showed you, something that was important to someone else that you cared about. Okay, number 4 is a movie that you owned. So this is when I would visually close my eyes and think about holding a VHS in my hand, or maybe something you recorded on TV. I guess people don't really own movies as much anymore, but this is answer as best you can. You can still own it. Someone asked, owned in the past tense, or can we still own it? It could be something you own now. Oops, sorry. All right, next one is a movie you saw in the theater. So it could have been something you saw a long time ago, maybe the first movie you saw in a theater, or something more recently. And last but not least, number 6 is a movie that scared you or made you feel bad. I'm scared by a lot of movies, so this will be a long list for me. But sometimes I've learned a lot about myself through thinking through movies that have scared me, like Scream. So okay, if everyone has their 6, the next thing I'm going to ask you to do is draw a spiral, and I'll tell you when to stop drawing the spiral. Okay, stop. Now, whatever you have, oops, keep jumping ahead of my slides. Nope. Okay. I want you to, this is a technique I learned from the game MASH. I don't know if you all remember, but I want you to count the layers of the spiral. So this spiral has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 layers to the center. Then whatever that number is, I want you to go down your list and count toward that number until you land on one of these prompts. So for me, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I would be ending up with this prompt about the movie that scared me. If you had a number higher than 6, it would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So feel free, if you landed on one that you don't want to do a comic about, just choose something else. I just hate making decisions. So I come up with elaborate schemes, so I'm not in control. All right, so I think we are ready to draw. Thanks for bearing with me. That was a lot of instructions so far. I'm gonna see if there's any questions. Okay, great. So on to the comic. I'm gonna be watching our time and giving you all 5 minutes or so to draw each panel. I know that isn't a lot of time, so just think of this as kind of the early thinking of something more. Don't put too much pressure on it. And I'm going to be drawing with you, but I will be drawing off camera so you can have access to these prompts, because I think that was a little confusing last time. So, and just to show you, so the prompts are draw and describe a time when you saw the movie that you selected through your process. What's something about the movie that left a deep impression? How did that scene or impression of the movie relate to something happening in your life at the time? And how do you feel about that movie or moment now in your life? So I'll be reading them as we go, but I'll just quickly show you I did this exercise before. I did it very quickly so you could see it could be messy. I'm scared by E.T., the movie. So it started out with E.T. scared me so much as a kid. I think I saw it at a friend's house. I remember when the team of faceless scientists came to take E.T. away. E.T. is like a kid who is different than everyone else and doesn't know how to communicate. The idea of being punished for my weirdness haunted me, leading to many E.T. themed nightmares. And then reflecting back on the movie in that time, when I rewatched E.T. recently, I realized it was a movie about divorce and how other kids were able to understand E.T. even when most adults couldn't. So that's just an example of like what's possible with the prompt. But I will let you begin by just focusing on drawing and describing a time when you saw this movie. So I'll let you know when it's time to move on to the next panel. Okay. Now would be a good time to move to the second panel, where we're thinking about what's something about the movie that left a deep impression. So it could just be one moment you remember, or maybe it's one actor in the film. Don't be too worried about accuracy, because this is about your emotional connection to the movie. Oops. Okay, about now is a good time to move on to panel three, which is how did that scene or impression of the movie relate to something happening in your life? Okay, and for this last prompt, I'm gonna start sharing my screen so you can see what I'm working on. But the last prompt is, how do you feel about that movie or that moment in your life right now? So this could be riffing on whatever memory came up for you, or it could be your reflections on the movie from your present perspective. Okay.
Jett, you wrote about Jumanji,
Yes.
and this was number 6, the one that made you feel bad or scared you.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Mhm. Okay. I would just stop wherever you are, and I'd love to see what you all have come up with.
Great. So if you're ready to share, Jett, actually the best thing for you to do would be to raise your Zoom hand. I'll raise mine. That's under the reactions. And then that way it just sort of keeps us all to the top of the grid. And then so anyone who wants to share can raise their hand. And Jett, can we see your final? Was that, can you share that on one?
Yeah.
That'd be kind of awesome first. And then
yeah, totally.
I don't, Libby says, this exercise makes me want to smoke and I don't smoke. Somehow I love that.
Yeah, so I did Jumanji, which is a movie that scared me. So my sister and I would watch Jumanji every day after school. I remember when they convinced Sarah, I think her name was, but I'm not sure, to play, even though the game ruined her life. Jumanji is a movie about very traumatized adults who kids have to care for. The way kids have to help the adults finish the game reminded me of how my sister and I related to my parents. So this is all of us playing a board game. Now this movie is even more terrifying because it's true. Things from the past may cause mayhem for you later. So this is me being chased by a bunch of Jumanji characters.
So awesome.
Anyway.
Oh, great. This was a great exercise. Okay. So, Jett, raise your hand if you wouldn't mind. And then we will visit with Marlene, Laura, Nina, Kathy, Shay in that order. So I'm going to type that.
Okay.
In. Cool. So Marlene, if you can come on, I'll spotlight you. Although I'm not seeing her. Oh, there we go. Okay. Oh, that's, of course. Hi. I think you're muted. Oh, still muted. Wait, still muted. Wait.
Can you hear me now?
There we go. Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so I've got 4 frames, and the movie, maybe I should get rid of my background so you can see. Sorry about that. That better?
Yeah.
Okay, so the movie that I love and watched recently is Alcatraz, The Escape from Alcatraz. And you can see Clint Eastwood in the cell, and he was convicted and sent to this island across the bay. I visited San Francisco, looked at the bay, and in the picture you can see the San Francisco Bridge. So just to give an indication of location. And I thought, how is it possible that these 4 guys could have escaped? You know, I was just overawed by that whole idea. And so then I started to think how clever it was of him to use a sharpened spoon. You can see him crouching down and working on that air vent, trying to get out. Apparently, he was a genius. And he used a sharpened spoon, a nail clipper with the sharp edge, and the bit of the vacuum cleaner to dig out a hole in the wall. And he had 3 other accomplices that helped him. So how they got around evading noise, his accomplice next to him played the accordion while he was busy digging. And you can see the little bucket at the back where he puts in all the debris, and they would smuggle it out. Then as they got out on the night through the vent, the 3 of them were, the other 2 were brothers. The guy in purple is him, gotten through to very close to where they could get out. And it was a drop of 15 meters, which is just awesome. And all of this impressed me, that they were fortunate to get out. And how I related it to my life was that anything is possible if you put your mind to it. And then finally, the FBI then retraced the steps along with the personnel of Alcatraz. They found some evidence of, I think it was raincoats that they sewed together to make life jackets, and a raft, and a paddle to paddle across San Francisco Bay. But the case was never solved. And so I thought I'll put a question mark, and the FBI, they're saying, well, we don't know. The case is still something in progress. So it's a cold case. And yeah, I really enjoyed this exercise. Thank you.
I love the big question mark at the end, because it describes how did they even do this?
Yeah.
And I love the detail of the bay. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you. And there's a discussion in the chat about how there were sharks in those waters. Okay, we'll go to Marlene or Laura next. Here we go.
Hi there.
Hello.
The movie that I saw in a theater was Stop Making Sense, which was a Talking Heads movie in the 80s. And I saw it in this movie theater in Harvard Square that when it opened in the 20s sat like 1,700 people. But by the 80s, it was already divided up into 5 little boxes. And what I loved about it was just the awesome creativity. I'd never seen anything like that before. It was the 80s and we kind of didn't really know what was going on. We were all in a stupor, but it was a very creative time. And the way it connects to me today is that David Byrne is still around. He's still doing funky, cool, creative stuff. And I'm also still trying to do creative stuff. Thanks.
Yeah, I love that. It's a beautiful story. And the Stop Making Sense drawing that you did really like is a well captured the movie to me. You can tell immediately.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah,
so much.
the big suit is a giveaway.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go to Nina next. Here we go.
Okay. I did Casablanca. So my mom used to make me watch it over and over again. So I see what I wrote. Mom used to make me watch Casablanca with her, and then Bogey in the TV saying, "Here's looking at you, kid." So Humphrey Bogart was so sexy and confident, and he loved Ingrid so much in the movie. Dad had left us, and I think Mom and I both wished a man like that would rescue us. And Bogey is saying, "We'll always have Paris." And then Casablanca stuck with me, and I subconsciously used it as a paradigm for my first children's book, The Night I Followed the Dog. So the dog was based on Rick, the character, and the club the dog owned in the book was based on the Rick's American Cafe. And it makes me miss Mom. So that's what I did.
That's beautiful. And I love how the TV set is angled in that second shot. It's just,
that's kind of like, story. Thanks. It's the only room I had because I put the text first.
Amazing, Nina. Thank you. Okay, we'll go to Kathy next. Sure to unmute. There we go.
Hi.
Hello.
So this was I want to say 2 things. This was 1982, before I had an understanding of my own sexual orientation and before gender identity and my understanding of that. So for myself and others, and so I'm intentional about the language in this, and I'm realizing, anyway, so says freshman orientation at Smith College. I had never before been in an auditorium of only women, of hundreds of only other women. I was 18. So many, I say as I go in. And the movie was The Birds. Tippi Hedren gets attacked by the birds. Those are all the birds slamming against the window. And she, I think she goes into a diner. That's where she heads into. And she says, I need peroxide. And Tippi Hedren says, I need peroxide. A student, a woman, a girl, really, like me, yells out, you have enough in your hair. Oh my God, I was shocked. And I have to read it from the front. I can't read it backwards anymore. And that is the moment I realized I didn't have to behave in polite ways, that women could yell at movie screens, that maybe I have a voice to use loudly. And then I remembered the rules for the evening. So I've changed some things, the Supreme Court, and we're here, we're queer, get used to it. So.
That's just fantastic. You know, I think you don't have to exactly follow the prompt to have just the memory of watching a movie bring up. There's all these memories of just watching movies that are scenes in themselves. So it's really great. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's a great reminder. Please share on social media. Some of these will be lost forever if you don't. So share them somewhere and hashtag Friday Night Comics. Thanks so much, Kathy. We'll go to Jay next.
All righty. I just recently rewatched The Gladiator. I hadn't seen it in a long time. And my son and I were doing a homeschool lesson on Rome. And I thought, well, I think he's old enough. He's seen enough stuff that I'll let him watch The Gladiator. So we rewatched it. And the part that I loved was where Maximus reveals his face and he says, I am Maximus. And he stands up to the emperor by not killing when the emperor tells him to. To me, it related to standing up for my son and I during the pandemic, even when authority says to do something different. And I had a few different authorities, like whatever president was saying it was a hoax or no mask or just the flu. My dad kind of is like just one of those people that's like, oh, it's just blown out of proportion. People laughing at me online. I had to like leave some groups there. And I just kind of went into my own thing. And that's when I actually started writing my first comic that I ever made that I'm still working on. And so Gladiator is about coming together with others to stand up to injustices, defend yourself and your family, and ensure that ruthless tyrants do not harm us. And it's going to have the end scene where he's back together with his family, even in the Elysium or in heaven, and that he was able to keep that throughout this and all of that adversity. So I was like, if he can do all that, you know, I can do.
Yeah, that's great. And yeah, I think it's like you made me remember that Gladiator really is about like defending your family and like standing up for yourself. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you. This is practice.
Thanks so much, Shay. All right, we're gonna go to Mary and then Kate M. Let's see. There we go.
Okay, there it goes. So I never really saw a lot of movies with my family, but two that I remember was Fiddler on the Roof and the other one was True Grit. And my dad really identified with both of the lead males in those movies. So that's my dad singing If I Were a Rich Man. He's wearing his greasy mechanic's jacket because, you know, he's just a mechanic. Tevi is just a milkman, you know, and he's going all day long on bitty bitty bum. If I were a wealthy man. And then the scene that affected me, I guess, which I never really thought of before, was his daughter. I think her name was Hava, but he called her Havala. And you know, he cannot deal with the fact that she's just going to run off with her boyfriend, and you know, who's you know, an activist, political kind of guy. You know, she just runs off, and he's just like, he's full of rage and sorrow at the same time. And so, you know, a couple years later, here I am as a teenager listening to protest music on my record player. smoking a joint, of course. And, you know, like, I can't believe we're on the eve of destruction, and little houses on a hillside made of ticky-tacky, and Pete Seeger and Joan Baez and all that stuff. I was into it. And so cut to today, and the political divisions are so extreme that it's just bringing me rage and sorrow, you know, just like Tevye was feeling, you know, and probably just like Hava was feeling as well, you know. And you know, I have this thing that I tell my friends, oh my God, I'm the last liberal standing in Milwaukee in my family. So, because all the liberals have moved to both coasts. So yeah, that was heavy.
Thank you for sharing. And I especially loved the opening of your dad dancing with, with that was just, I feel like it expresses sometimes just how people relate to characters in movies, like they're in their own movie with that character. So thank you for sharing.
My dad liked all those strong male characters, you know.
Thanks so much, Mary. I'm on the lookout for Kate M now, so I got to find her because she's having a hard time with the own.
Oh, right. Where am I?
I'm not sure. Hang on.
Oh, here I am.
If your hand,
Okay.
well, you can see you, but I can't see you. So hold on, because if your hand isn't up, but give me a second, and I should be able to find you.
Yeah.
Let's see. Got a bunch of people here. Why can't I find you, Kate?
Oh, where am I?
I don't know. Everybody's screen is different. That's one of the joys of Zoom, is it's kind of like,
Yeah.
oh, I see you there. Oh, and you just moved. Oh, fudge.
Oh.
You were just there.
Oh, here I am.
Well, wait a minute.
Okay.
Hold on. I saw you, and then I swear you moved off the screen for some reason. Oh my God.
I'm waving.
Go, Mary. Go,
Oh, there you are. Yeah, thanks for the wave. Okay, gotcha. All right, there we go. We're good.
Hi. Usually I see the little hands, but didn't see the little hand. Anyway, see how this works with the, see, you know, it's just the computer thing. Give a little more light. I'll bet some other people did this, because the spiral ended up with 6. I ended up with the movie that I was scared of or hated. That was, I didn't follow the prompts exactly, but it was Jaws. So, I'm sorry, I want to be able to see that I'm showing this in like, okay, that kind of works.
That works.
Yeah.
Okay, Jaws. It's funny, I'm seeing it in mirror writing. And does it look like mirror writing to you?
No.
It's forwards.
Oh, isn't that funny? I saw Jaws in a weekend, I cut class, I was actually a teenager. So
It added to the danger, it says.
yeah, it added to the danger. So it's the sunny, bright afternoon, and we go in this theater and see this terrifying movie. And this is of course, when it jumps up on the deck and everybody's freaking out, that's when I saw it. And the scene I remember, of course, like everybody, is the underwater point of view. So everybody, like, what it would do to you, this movie is like, when you swim, you see your feet from a shark point of view, and you imagine it's like, it really disturbs you, and it disturbed me for years, because you're just seeing yourself from underneath as food, right? So, boom, 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 boom. Okay. And I kind of went to just my personal story with it. where like I did at one point I got an invitation to visit a friend who was caretaking on the big island of Hawaii. So that's the only time I've ever been there. But you know, I sat around some park benches, like drinking beer with some of the native guys, who just, you know, the beer drinking at the beach crowd of, you know, and they liked letting me hang around because anyway, I asked them all about sharks and they were just like, oh, sharks don't want to eat you. Basically, if they can see you, you know, they'd rather have a seal, they'd rather have a fish. So I believed it. And one day I put it to the test and I swam like way far out, way far out. I found myself in a situation where it was clear. So and this is when I'm swimming back. And like, not only were there no sharks, but I heard whales. So it ended up being good because I had this experience. You know, it was a very internal experience. Like, you know, I didn't want to let this movie rule me. So, you know, I had a wonderful, you know, just a magical swim. Anyway, that's Jaws. Jaws, I mean, I don't want to meet a shark, but Jaws no longer rules me.
I love that. And I love that, like, you see your face at the end. Everything else is these faceless people being attacked. And it's really beautiful.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Kate. Love that last panel. Here we go to Michael next. Sure to unmute.
I think you're on mute.
I chose The Godfather. And so the first panel is the opening scene of The Godfather with Marlon Brando in his home office. And it says, watching Marlon Brando in The Godfather made me feel a connection. Then the next panel is a drawing of some Italian hand gestures based on a book that I saw once by Bruno Minari explaining Italian hand gestures. And it says, even though Chinese don't use the same hand gestures. Then the next panel has a couple pictures of what Chinese do use hand gestures for, which are chopsticks and a keyboard. So it says the Chinese have other things they use their fingers for. And then the last panel says, but what if Vito Corleone had picked up a wok instead of a gun? So I may try to redraw the last one with Brando in a tuxedo doing a stir fry.
Thank you. That first panel really does look like The Godfather.
Thank you.
Amazing, Michael. Thank you. Amazing. Okay, we'll go to Kari next. Kari, Erla. Oh, Michelle just changed her name to Mishka again. And then Aleph. Okay.
All right. So I also did a prison movie. I did The Shawshank Redemption. And in the first panel, you see me and my sister watching that in our living room with our pets at the time, which I thought about. The part that really impressed me of the movie was the phrase when Andy Dufresne says, get busy living or get busy dying. And this is a scene where the prison wardens discover that Andy Dufresne escaped by tunneling his way out with the Rita Hayworth poster in front of it. It made me think, and I was about 25 at the time, and it's amazing to think now, but I thought my life was over. And, you know, I was trying to figure out what am I going to do with the rest of my life? And, you know, youth culture, Generation X, you know, that's what it was. It was over. But this is me in the last frame in my life now. And life now is so much more worth living. So this is a really fun prompt. So thank you.
Thank you. I love that.
Awesome, Kari. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Okay, we're gonna go Erla, Mishka, Aleph, Bonnie.
Okay, so my movie was Beaches, and it stars Barbara Hershey and Bette Midler. They're friends, but they act like sisters. So the last movie that my sister and I watched together, can't remember the first time, but I remember the last time, we were watching it together, and she's actually quite sick. And her daughter comes in and says, "Oh my God, are you two masochists?" And my sister says, "It's just a movie, geez." And so in our house, this is just like, life is just pretty, it's kind of normal, but she's very sick and we're watching movies. We've got Kleenex all over the place. And so for 3 months, we just watched movies, we hung out, we had meals together. And so I'm feeling very appreciative and glad that we had just a very normal 3 months together. And we are sisters that were also friends. Thank you.
It's beautiful. I love how you use the film strip as the panel.
I thought that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Awesome, Erla. Thank you. Okay, we're going to Mishka on the trampoline.
Hi, I'll stay still and I'll also change. Here's my drawing, but I can't keep it still, so I'm going to do my trick. Here we go.
Oh, nice.
So my movie is Microcosmos, which was filmed in Marlene's part of the world. It's a documentary with insects and small animals. So I saw it from the front row of the Brattle Theater Repertory Movie House in Cambridge, Mass. As a young adult. In that first scene, you can see the perfect ball of poo and the dung beetle. Next panel is about, in one very steamy scene, 2 oversized snails lumber in from opposite sides of the frame and then have the hottest snail sex you could possibly imagine. Getting all slobbery all over each other. It's scored to a crescendoing aria, rippling, undulating against one another. I got so uncomfortable watching this gastropod porn that I laughed uncontrollably, gasped for breath, nearly peed myself and slid to the floor. Months later, I made a new friend at work and we were talking about how much we both love the Brattle, and he asked, "Were you at the 7 p.m. show of Microcosmos in the front row? I saw you there. You love that movie." I'm wondering, and I was like, "Oh my God, those snails, the dung beetle." Now I live 3,000 miles away from the Brattle and I miss the movies and the community and the crazy calendar of quirky movies. They're so good.
That's great. I love the use of color.
Oh, thanks.
Amazing.
I recommend it to everybody. It's a great movie. A lot of drama for insects.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, back to trampolining. Okay, Aleph, we are going to go to Aleph.
So I don't draw, so I'm very vulnerable. So the movie that I owned was Ratatouille, and I still have the DVD. So let's see, we start down here. Sorry, like I went this way. So I watched Ratatouille during the summer of 2000X. I don't remember the year, at my house. And then this is that guy. So like, my drawing gets really insecure, but in many ways, the work of a critic is very easy. We risk very little, yet enjoy a position over those who offer up their and themselves for judgment. We go on negative criticism, which is fun to read and write. Then this is me now, exams, proposals, papers. And then this is, I am Remy, I'm Anton Ego. 2, Anton Ego was Remy, will Remy be Anton Ego?
That's great. I mean, the drawings look amazing, so I think you can draw.
Thank you. And this was an amazing exercise, Jett. Thanks so much. Love it.
You're welcome.
Thanks so much, Aleph. Okay, we'll go to Bonnie next. Bonnie, Michael, Karen, Jackie. That's the order.
Hi.
Hi.
I used a colored pencil, so it's kind of a bit very sketchy, but whatever. So I chose 6, which was a movie that you saw and hated or made you feel bad. So we start here. This is me I went to a private school when I was third grade through graduation, and we had Bible class. And so this is me in the 90s in a Bible class, and we're watching a movie. You know how they used to roll the big TV in, and the movie was called A Thief in the Night. And it was this movie that was made in the 1970s or what have you, about the rapture, or as they liked to call it, the end times. So here's all of us students in the Bible classroom. You can see all the crosses and the paraphernalia and the TV. I remember the movie ended in a really terrible way. There was an earthquake, because I don't know if any of you have read Revelation, or you just, you know, with all the end time talk that everyone loves to pull out all the time, you know, the world is ending or whatever. And so whatever. But at the end of the movie, they've set up the quote unquote non-believers have set up a guillotine, very a la French Revolution, and they're guillotine Christians, because Christians are always feeling that they're about to be persecuted. And if you recall, sorry, this was a Baptist Christian school, so it was obviously very skewed. But there's me, and I was just terrified by the scene. As I was a teenager, and then as even now, I have a lot of anxiety, and that probably might have affected it as well. I remember when I was a teenager and stuff, just sobbing uncontrollably and being just overwhelmed with fear and emotions. And so I'm in bed, and my parents are kind of like, they don't really know what to do, you know, they're like, what's wrong? Like, and I think you can draw a line between being exposed to kind of very scary, irrational things like that when you're young, and someone with an active imagination, to kind of, it's not good for people with high anxiety. But nowadays, what do I see of it now? It's I can see that kind of movie and things I was taught for what it was. It was just propaganda to kind of instill fear in general, to create an us versus them, which you can definitely see today. And it was just purely hypocritical. So I just think I've been thinking about that a lot, kind of based off of what's going on and the new tagline like Christofascism and stuff. So that's my comic about a movie that terrified me as a child. So
thank you so much for sharing, Bonnie.
Yeah.
Amazing, Bonnie. Thanks.
Sorry, really great.
We'll go to Michael Ashner, although Michael's not a movie fan. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think I'm as obsessive as Jett. Hi, Jett. Hi, Tom. Hi, everybody. Okay. I tried to like take photos of this so I could read it off my phone. Let me see. Hang on.
Heartbreak Kid.
Yeah, one of my favorite movies. Let's see. Here we go. First time I saw The Heartbreak Kid, I was a single guy in my 30s. It's a scathing social satire, or at least it became one, in the hands of the brilliant director Elaine May. That's Sybil Shepherd as the Shiksa goddess, and Charles Grodin, whose character had no redeeming qualities. And this was true of many movies. I remember reading the Mad Magazine movie parody 20 years before seeing the movie. More Trucker's drawings wedged in my impressionable brain. And here's where I went off the rails in the last one and fell away from I just started, because I could write just 10 pages about this movie. Apparently, screenwriter Neil Simon was displeased with May's approach, including casting her daughter Jeannie Berlin as the nice Jewish girl Charles Grodin dumps on their honeymoon. Simon was wrong, and Elaine May was so right.
That's incredible. I love that.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Right. We're going to go to Karen, Jackie, KT, all over. Jett, are you okay? We're going a little bit long, it looks like.
Yeah, I'm here if you all are here.
Right. Oh, muted, I think. Karen?
Oh,
We just heard you.
am I muted?
No, now it's okay.
Okay. So I did Saturday Night Fever.
Oh, now you're muted again. Well, I don't know why that is.
Here, I'll take this off. How's this? Can you hear me now?
Better.
Okay. Should I read? Okay, here it is. So Saturday Night Fever, and it said, it was my 15th birthday, and Carla treated me to see Saturday Night Fever. My father drove us in the Dodge Dart. I remember that day so well. I felt so good. I was wearing Diane's jeans and shirt, feeling and looking good. The next one is.
Oh, I just muted you. I'm sorry. That was a mistake. I'm sorry, Karen. Thank you.
Is it too much? No, just kidding. I remember very little of the movie. Just John Travolta in it was cool and smooth. I loved to watch him dance. I felt so sophisticated. My mother bought one of those balls, whatever, you know, for our dining room. Then I go, it was, wait, what was the third prompt? I forget, something about, how did it resonate? Sensuality, growing independence. I was feeling optimistic. It was one isolated day where everything felt right. I remember my dad driving us and then picking us up. That's dad in a nutshell. And then the final one is, I felt cared for and loved. It was a big deal that Carla treated me. I feel a longing to feel that way again, young with long, soft hair that smelled like wheat germ and honey. How long ago it was. And
Awesome, Karen.
Thank you. That was amazing.
Love the detail of the Dodge Dart. Okay, we're gonna go to Jackie, Katie, Oliver, Allison. Here's Jackie.
Hi, hope you can see this. The movie that I sort of rando landed on was Strange Brew. Let's see what I can do with that. I first saw Strange Brew on the TV at my friend Jennifer's house, and she's saying like, "Oh, poor hose head, ha ha," and we're eating frosting out of a tube. I thought it was funny when Bob and Doug, can't remember which one, put a floppy disk into a record player and said, "British New Wave band, eh?" And little asterisk saying, like, I'll explain to any millennials that need to know afterward, like what a turntable, what a record player is and what a floppy disk is. And totally relevant because what was I listening to at the time? The elders made fun of it. And that's me listening to my Walkman and singing Duran Duran along with oh, my Walkman. And the moment makes me feel nostalgic. What a dang old simpler time on so many levels. Sure, I was miserable as a teen, but I had no bills, no worrisome kids, no internet, and I had British New Wave.
Yes. I love the panel of you singing. So amazing.
Awesome. Thanks, Jackie. We'll go to KT next. So we got KT, Oliver, Allison, AT. And here we go.
Ooh, AT, nice. I liked your suggestion a lot of putting 2 panels on a page. I often work small and then regret it. So this time I tried to work big.
Nice.
I also went with a movie that made me feel bad, but it was Clueless. So I'll explain. So my friends and I watched Clueless junior year. And what I remember most vividly about it was that the tomboy Ty gets a makeover scene, like made me cry. It just like really got to me. At the time I had been kind of coming into my own like identity as a butch lesbian. And I had spent a lot of time trying to like get away from being bad at makeup and all these things. And so it just kind of like hurt to see that on the screen because I was like, she was fine the way she was. And then I just wrote, maybe I'll see a Butch transformation one day.
Yeah, that's very real, and I relate to that a lot. Thank you, and amazing work.
Thank you. I really loved this. Thank you so much for the prompts. I wrote them down so I can do them again.
And share on social, KT. Thanks so much. Okay, Oliver next.
Okay, when I was 6, back in 1992, I watched Terminator 2. And I don't know if there's a particular scene, but I was fascinated by this relationship between the Terminator and this teenager played by Eddie Furlong. And then I had maybe the first ever vivid dream that sort of stayed with me of my life, which involved me in the place of the boy being protected by the Terminator from these evil forces. And then it sort of, in me, it created a sort of a totally unreasonable, almost like personal loyalty towards the actor, Arnold Schwarzenegger. And then later, when he ran for governor, I was sort of inexplicably kind of excited by this, the advent of Arnold Schwarzenegger as the governor of California.
Yeah, that's real. I love all the silhouette work with the Terminator, because you really do get the impressions of those characters in such sparse lines. So thank you.
Thank you, Olivia. Thank you so much. Okay, we'll go to Allison, AT, Margaret, Ruby. Still rolling through them. Here we go.
Hi.
Oops.
Okay. Oh,
I did that. My fault. There we go.
okay. Hi. So for my comic, I ended up on the prompt, a movie that I hated. And a movie that I hated, still is Forrest Gump. So here you see me in Movie Hater Anonymous, explaining my hatred for Forrest Gump. It largely, yes, it has to do with a number of things, but chief among them, the Alabama accents just drive me up the wall. Forrest himself, Mrs. Gump, Lieutenant Dan, Bubba, it's like nails on a chalkboard to me, to the point where when I was in middle school and in high school, when I largely had to watch these movies like as a part of various English and social studies classes for whatever reason, I don't know. It was so irritating to me that my old Taekwondo coach would quote lines from the movie at me in order to get me to kick and punch things harder. And honestly, there's no specific scene that I hate. I think part of the reason why I hate it so much is it was something that I was forced to watch. Like I didn't have a say in it. And when you're a middle schooler, that can be that strong catalyst for hatred. Although honestly, I still hate it now. F- would never watch again. And that's
amazing. I'm also really glad that someone did this prompt, and I love Movie Haters Anonymous circle.
Yeah.
You got a lot of friends in the chat, Allison, too. A lot of people.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay, AT, if you're ready, bring your video on. We'll try and get through the last 7. And here we go. There we go.
Hi. Okay. I first of all, here's my physical media, so I'm still a fan. Let me see if I have better. It's gonna be pretty bad lighting. Okay, I think this is the best it's gonna get. And I kind of went rogue. That's like too many panels, and but all right. We went to see the movie Stay Alive 2006, starring Frankie Muniz as Swink Sylvania. That's his character name. I looked it up. I'm scared stiff, but not by the movie. Hold on, that's a spoiler. Me and my friends had just started experimenting with alcohol, and before the movie, I had poured a little of everything in my parents' liquor cabinet into a big glass bottle. So I got wine and vodka, age 14. And I smuggled it into theater in my big puffy coat, but when I went to the bathroom, it fell out and smashed. Purple glass blast everywhere. Shame, panic, fear. I escaped from the bathroom into the dark theater, but as I watched the movie, I knew a theater employee would come in to get me and hand me over to the authorities. And in the movie, Frankie is saying, if you die in the game, you die in real life. And then a little employee has entered with the flashlight. And then the Regal employee gave chase with flashlight as I stayed low and scrambled to the back row. They kept coming and I went belly to the floor, army crawling to evade capture. And then when he caught up, he said, everything okay, sir? And then I said, oh, yeah, I'm fine. So he didn't hand me over to the police. And I also, it needs to have a couple more panels for an epilogue because I worked at theater myself for a couple years and I cleaned a lot of bathrooms. So great prompt, and I'd like to do it again too and follow the rules. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. And also it's like the prompts are there to spark your story. So if, you know, if it doesn't follow the rules, there's no rules, you know, it's just to help you. So thank you.
Cool. Thanks so much, AT. We're gonna finish up with Margaret, Ruby, Paulo, Jeff, and Carly, and then Jamie.
The movie that I chose was Return of the King. This was a very informative movie for me as a kid. You see me in this panel, seeing it for the first time. I am looking very amazed. The second panel, the scene that stuck out to me the most was Miranda Otto's I Am No Man as she stabs the Witch King in the face. And that really stuck with me. And I think that was my first big crush moment. And then you have me in the third one with all the other girls kind of whispering about how I was gay and it was weird. And then by the fourth panel, I've come to accept it. I had my first kiss at the Women's March. I also went to a very Christian school and South Carolina and then Guatemala, and it was not the best place to come out, but I've come a long way. So I really like this prompt though.
I'm glad, and I love that story, and those lines are really beautiful.
Awesome, Margaret. Thank you so much. All right. Ruby, if you can come on screen, we'll go to you, and then we'll go to Paulo, Jeff, Carly. Here we go.
Hi, yeah, so my movie, I picked one that I liked because I couldn't find enough to say one that I hated, but it's Princess Mononoke. I'm not super happy with my drawings, but it was mostly text heavy. So the first one says, I first watched Princess Mononoke when I was 13 in a multi-part YouTube playlist. And the second panel is trying to be a drawing of Ashitaka from, there's a scene where he's in the village and his arm just poisoned, like a whole bunch of like demon sort of shadows come out of it. He's yelling at all of the people in our town because he's sort of chastising them. Because he's come to try to sort of shut things down because the land's being poisoned. And I said, I was in awe of Ashitaka's kindness and sacrifice in such a violent world. And the third panel is trying to be a drawing from the end of the movie in which San and Ashitaka are, spoilers, giving the head of the forest spirit back so that the world doesn't get destroyed. And I said, I was facing a lot of isolation and bullying at school, and fear and dysphoria internally. I wanted to believe that kindness and a good heart could change the world. And the last panel is a drawing of, supposed to be me and Ashitaka and Yakul looking at each other. I'm not super happy with that drawing, and then it says, looking back as a more jaded adult and a trans woman, I realized how trans the movie was. I love the story of the exiled prince collaborating with a wild girl of the woods to bring about the violent transformation of the world. So I like this prompt too. I thought it was a very good brain churner. So thank you.
Yeah, I really love that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Awesome, Ruby. Thank you so much. Paulo, if you'll come on, we'll go to Paulo, Jeff, Carly, and then Jamie, and then that's it. Going really long. And And thank you, Jeff.
Can you can hear me now, right?
Yeah.
So I think I've had this before where I'm trying to share the screen so I can share content, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's possible as an attendee.
Oh.
Set up.
Gosh.
Yeah.
I've done it before where I logged in on my phone and then just showed you video on my phone. Maybe I could do that. So if you want to skip me, I'll come back.
Sure, give it a try. All right, we'll
Okay.
go to Jeff real fast here. There we go, Jeff.
Oh, me. Okay, great. Sorry. Do this. Oh, sorry, guys. Is that going to work? Oh, cool. So I chose Rocky Horror Picture Show. I went to the midnight showing of Rocky Horror Picture Show, and I just stared at Tim Curry the whole time, thinking how great it would be not to care what anyone thought of you. So, and then I went, I want to be an alien, but I'm not sure this outfit is really working. And then I only did 3 panels, and I said, I wasn't sure I was cut out to be an alien, but I sure felt alienated from everyone around me. So, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I love the drawings.
Oh, thank you.
Jeff, amazing. Thank you so much.
Great.
We'll go to Carly. Paulo, look in the chat. Mishka says she puts her background to the video, and that might work for you. So take a look. Okay, gonna go to Carly.
Yeah, I was gonna attempt to quickly add my image as my.
The Mishka trick.
Yeah.
Oh
I don't
yeah.
know if you can see. I don't know if you can see the whole thing though, because I think it's a little bit like blur, like it cut off a little bit. So I'll try to just show the actual the originals. Let's see. Okay. So let's see how do I do this?
Oh, that's a trick. That's hard to do.
No.
I think you can do one or the other, but not.
Yeah. All right. So I just change the. What if I blur the back? Does this work?
No, now it's blurred in the background.
Oh goodness. I don't know if that.
That'll work.
Okay. So the movie is She's All That. And I think I saw it with a cousin like in the summer. Because we used to rent movies in the summer when we visited each other. She's from North Carolina and I'm from New York. And what the film did was like it reinforced like beauty standards by pitting blonde, brunette, tall, short, glasses. Like it just kind of reinforced like the opposite of like be yourself, which was what kids usually get told in school. And then I went to an all-girls Catholic high school, so I didn't have like firsthand experience with like trying to be pretty for the like teenage boys, like for 4 years. And then cut to today, I've spent the last 10 years as an educator, and I've seen like the impact of social media and how like fakeness is like commodified and praised. It's like I feel like I grew up in a more forgiving time than kids today, that like She's All That was kind of seen as like I look at that as like that's tragic, like the Clueless one, like changing yourself was like tragic. But now like kids are like the default is that you have to change yourself to be accepted.
Oh yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I love the drawings that yeah.
Thanks.
Super great. Thank you so much, Carly.
Thanks.
All right. Paulo, did you figure it out? Otherwise, we'll go to Jamie.
No, I can't change the picture, but I'm going to email it to myself and I'll just show you the picture through my phone.
Okay, we'll go to. Okay, let us know. Jamie, I'm going to find you on gallery setting. Jamie's got like an old version of Zoom or something. Can never find that. There you are. Hold on. And unmute yourself. There we go.
I'm trying.
Oh, you're muted again. There we go.
It's because I'll unmute myself. This computer is from 2008. Some of these people sharing tonight might not even have been born then, okay? And you're making fun of my Snake Plissken, but he's only, I think Escape from New York is only 1982. Escape from Alcatraz is the 70s. I mean, look, I can't help what I saw when I was a kid. Anyway, my movie was Jaws. Will this make any sense? I have no idea. Worst week ever. But so the top of it is, and I know I have 1 minute. So here we go. Dad snoring. Me with insomnia, even at 10. I come down, I'm like, I got one eye on Dad, I got one eye on the TV, and it's Jaws. And I'm like, and it changes my life forever because everything I see makes me compelled to love great white sharks and also terrified of the ocean, which I used to love because I'm a Pisces. So then here we go. We got the guy that stood out the most is the guy that's like, are you guys okay over there? You guys okay? He's trying to help. What does he get for his effort? He gets his leg bitten off and completely dead in the best looking shark moment of the entire movie. It goes contrary to everything all the horror movies taught us. Scream said, if you have sex, you're going to get eaten. You're going to get killed. This guy did nothing but try to help kids. And it means the shark he has no karma. He has no fear. So then also the idea that I'm going to smoke a cigarette and it will stick on my mouth when I want to tell you something important. You're going to need a bigger boat. I tried to do that for like 10 months and it made me addicted to Marlboro cigarettes. Anyway, then also Quint was like my dad. Look, see, he's asleep because he's drinking that same kind of beer. What the heck is that? Oh my gosh. No wonder I had a crush on Robert Shaw. These are problems. I know. I'm running out of time. I think I have 15 seconds. Tom, don't cut me off. Don't cut me off. So then the shark blows off. Okay, wait. Okay. And then he's like, oh yeah, smile, you son of a bitch. Like smile. Like you should just be happy with the life that you have. And you should be. You should be. But I wasn't. I just want to get out of Jenkintown. So I get out of Jenkintown, which that horrible show, The Goldbergs, is about, by the way. Don't even get me started. And I make a one-woman show that nobody goes to get to see. They don't go. Just people I know. And it's called American Survivor. And I put on a great white shark costume in which, and I sing like American Survivor songs, weird stuff at the end, like I can survive a shark attack. And at the end, the shark blows up and people clap, all 15 people, the people that I knew that came to see my one-woman show that no one cares about. The end. That's it. Peace out, Tom. I love you. I love you guys. Thank you for having me.
Jamie, you gotta post clips of that show.
I will. Oh, it's so embarrassing, but I will. I'll do it. I'll re-embarrass myself from 2004. I'll do it.
All right. We lost Paulo. Paulo, are you there? Are you going to try and share this? I'm not sure where Paulo is. Oh, Paulo.
Hey, I'm back. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you.
Okay, so how do I show my camera? I'm using my phone. I'm sorry, I'm not, I have no idea how to do this stuff. Video, here we go. So you see nothing, right?
I lost you in the grid. Yeah, we don't see anything.
Yeah, I guess it's using, oh, here we go, I switch it.
There we go.
Okay.
Oh, hey.
So it says, so the movie was Lost Boys, that vampire movie. When I was a kid, and something about the autumn winds and stuff just felt magical. So it says autumn winds are magical where dream and waking worlds meet at the light of dusk and dance by the light of the moon. And so there's just like, I don't know, something mystical about that time. And creatures with power of the night, I wanted to be them. And then at the time, I was a kid going through a lot of authority issues. And so I desired freedom and independence from the rules of my parents' school and church. And then the last panel is that I still struggle with authority.
Yeah. That second panel is so intense with the bat is like breaking the panel. Love that.
it didn't fit in there. So
Everyone says it was worth the wait, Paulo. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna replace the spotlight. I'm gonna put it back on Jett. Jett, thank you so much. My God, we went so long, and it's because you brought so much out of people with this prompt. It was so good. Movies.
Thank you all for coming. I know I've never done this workshop before with movies, and I know it can be a little scary, and I wasn't sure how it was going to work, and I feel like you all did beautifully. And if you want to share on Instagram, I will share your comic. And thank you so much.
Yeah, the info in the chat. Jett's info, our info, also the after party Susan is hosting. If you want to jump onto that Zoom screen real fast, really appreciate everyone staying here and just showing us what you're scared of, what bothered you, what you loved, what you hated, all that stuff. Jett, thanks.
Thank you.
Buddy, let's unmute. Let's say thank you.
That was really awesome.
Like,
Unmute.
Thanks.
Wonderful.
Thanks, Jett.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Good night.
Thank you.
All right, thanks everybody. Thanks all the tech support out there. Thanks all the emotional support out there. All right, good night all.